If she got a little ass, she gotta have a big bank account, right?
Same thing with dudes. You got a little dick, you better have a big bank account.
The same shit.
Same shit, right?
Yeah, literally. I'm gonna say that shit again. We starting in with that. That is our fucking start today. And then you can do the intro, Harris.
Oh my goodness. We haven't even had a shot yet, and this guy's already on 100.
Hey, Harris, we doing that shit. That shit is funny.
I like it.
We're gonna start with that, and you go Dupre, whatever, however you do your intro.
Okay.
Your fucking silky smooth fucking voice.
Woo!
Yes.
Tell me when you're ready to roll, Kiko.
Hold up. Let me fucking get situated, y'all. Hey.
We're recording, actually, right now. We're good to go.
Hey, man.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. Hey, man, look it. Let me share something with you guys. If she got a small ass, she better have a big bank account.
Yeah. You got a small dick, you gotta have a big bank account too. It works both ways.
Welcome back to Off the Mark. I'm Harris. That's Dupre. That's Kiko. Happy Friday, guys.
Happy Friday. What's up, y'all?
We're back.
It's been too long.
Holiday season.
Shouldn't have left you.
I know.
Without a dope podcast to listen to.
Yeah, that works.
Listen to.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Rakim and Eric B.
Hakim and Eric B. And then shout out to man, why am I?
That's Tim, isn't it?
No, yeah, Timberland. Thank you, man.
It's been a long time.
I shouldn't have left. But it is the originator is Eric B and Rakim.
Yeah, man. You know, I'm a hip hop historian.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Rakim's like number one on my list of MCs in my life.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what's up.
Just like rhetorical skills.
Lyrics of fury.
Man.
Come on now.
How do I plead the homicide?
Come on now.
Lyrics of fury.
Don't check the technique. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
boom,
mahogany.
boom, boom. Come on, man.
Ooh.
Man, dude.
Those are gems, man.
All those we used to listen to back in the day, man.
Those are cuts.
So, what's going on with you guys?
Well, first off, I want to give a shout out to all of you guys. Thank you for rocking with us here and giving us a follow and tapping in the DMs and letting us know how we're affecting change in your life. And it's been an interesting week. I've had a lot of conversation around this podcast, which is great.
Huge things. Yeah. I've been like very active on the, saying thanks to everyone that's like following, and a lot of them are your peeps too. They're thinking like, I'm you.
Oh, okay.
I guess I'll be the dick of the crew, because I'm like, I've got hitting up on my private messages from some people that are like, hey, man, how can I hop up on the podcast? Hey, man, how can I bum rush the podcast? And like anybody that knows me, I'm not down with communism, right? I think, what was the great American poet Snoop Dogg said, everybody's got their cup.
But they ain't chipped in.
Right? So you can't just be showing up, booty shaking, man, trying to get a free drink.
That's
not how it gets down. Like, you don't understand, like, just to get to this level,
right?
Just to get to this point, the amount of time, energy, money, broken relationships, repaired relationships between us three to get to this moment where all of a sudden you see us having some fun. And I appreciate the fact that you would want to step on this thing, but we're still workshopping this right now. We're still refining this. Like, we're still developing and building the relationship between us three and our chemistry.
Yep.
Right. So we can get this a bigger, better product, not just for ourselves, but just for the masses at large, because I really feel like as you get older in life, I feel like I have a legacy that I need to leave, right? And right now, this is the medium for us to kind of get that message out there. With all our mistakes, with all our successes, with all our future mistakes, future successes, right? This is a platform for us to kind of communicate that to everybody. I feel like that's my social responsibility, is coming on the mic and just being, like we always talk about, our authentic selves.
No doubt.
Just like Elon Musk. Did you say Elon Musk interview with Andrew
Sorkin
Sorkin in the New York Times? And he's like talking about the advertisers, in particular Bob Iger and Disney.
Fuck yourself.
Yeah. Like, I am not selling out.
You're not about to blackmail me with advertising dollars.
Yes.
Right? I love that.
That's freedom.
Yes, it is.
Whether you agree with Elon Musk or not, it's not about that. It's all about he's sticking to literally his metaphysical first principles of his being, of who he is as a person.
And that's great, man. It's like a Persian proverb, man. He who wants a rose must respect the thorns.
God damn.
Do you know what I'm saying? You gotta go through that.
Say that again. I need to hear that again.
That's a Persian proverb, man. Shout out to my cats at Taft High School back in 2001, man. He who wants a rose must respect the thorn.
Dude, that's like Halle Berry like stroking my neocortex right now. That shit was like felt so good.
You need Halle Berry?
Yeah, Halle Berry, Halle Berry.
There's two of them. The other one is the Little Mermaid.
No, I'm talking about like old school.
Oh, great.
Yeah, I'm talking like a Monsters Ball, Billy Bob Thornton getting bucked down, like won the Grammy Award for that shit.
And got an extra $1 million for that. Right? You remember that?
Yeah, man. Billy Bob, don't do it.
Don't do it. It's been a great week. What's new with you guys?
Well, I was talking to Kiko before he came over here, and we were like, you know, like when you commit to something, make sure you follow through with it. So, you know, it reminded me of Andre 3000. I'm sorry.
3 stacks.
3 stacks. Reminded me of Bombs Over Baghdad because I was talking to a broker on the phone.
Okay.
And I'm in negotiations and M&A trying to buy another practice. So she called me up and she's like, hey, Mark, I just want you to know, like when you're dealing with lenders, you know, they may ask for another 10 to 20%. And I just bring this up because it may kind of like, you know, delay the process. Or, you know, if you don't have the money, I say, hey, look it. I said, we don't go to war unless we got the resources ready and willing to deploy.
That's right.
And so what I told Weezy when he came over, what I really wanted to say was, we don't pull the thing out unless we're ready to bang.
Bombs over Baghdad.
Bobby head, rag top, Bobby head,
rag top. Here we go, rag top. Here we go, rag top. Here we go, rag. That was my part too. He takes him to church right there, man. That is going to church.
We were bobbing, always bobbing to that song. You cannot not bob to that song.
Yeah,
you know?
well, congrats on that.
Yeah, you know, so we're still in the process, and then you know, it goes even to like, you know, I love my cultural references, movie songs. I go to Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross.
Yeah, always be closing.
Where Alec always be closing, but he's like, fuck or walk.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck or walk.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't come on the lot just to say hi.
Right.
They want to give you their money.
Yeah.
Fuck or walk.
Yeah.
And that's all it is.
Yes.
Right.
Yes,
So that's why I was telling to the brokers, like, I'm not in this just to like dilly daddle around and waste anybody's time. Right. You can make money, can't make time.
Yeah.
I'm here. Like, I got the money.
Yep.
Literally, the only way that this does not go through is if we just don't come to terms on we don't come to the agreement on the terms. Aside from the money, it's a wrap. We got you covered.
Right.
You're going to get your cut.
So that's the freedom that we kind of led with, right? Like getting to that point where now there's no negotiables about what positioning you have in life. You're going this way. And if you want to come this way, come on with me.
Yep.
But I'm going this way.
Yep.
Irrespective of if I get to deal with you or if I make a deal with something that's that's comparable to that.
No, that's a fair statement.
It's
right?
a great feeling.
It's a great feeling, and it goes with, you know, surrounding yourself with people that, you know, there's always like that one person that, you know, they don't want to lead, they don't want to follow, they don't even want to get out of the way.
Yeah.
They want to stand in front of you and tell you why it can't be done.
Oh, just like the naysayers?
Yeah, like they ain't contributing anything.
Right.
You know,
They're
they have
just
like no
spectators.
skin in the game.
Right.
Right. But it's their fear, it's their insecurities, right? Because whatever it is you're doing, Dino was talking about it. What is it with my securities that make you insecure? And that's what Harris is talking about. I'm going this way.
Yeah, man.
Are you coming with me or not? And if not, just get out of my way.
Right.
And
that's like a lot of my friends too, where, you know, I tell them like, are we gonna grow together or are we just gonna grow apart? Because if you're going with me, you gotta contribute, and I'm gonna, you know, help you out however I can too.
Hey man, they ain't got their cup.
Right.
We'll keep going back to that. It's like I told my homeboy that when I was like, good friend of mine, like 20 some odd years, and I was like, bro, this is a business.
Yeah.
Like this just ain't, hey, come over, you know, play with your pecker for a little bit,
right,
and then leave. Like this is like serious stuff. We're not just, we're having fun. This is what we want to do, but this is like a commitment that we all made. Like I wanted to really, I'm a huge Oregon football fan. And if you know, like Oregon's playing here in Vegas tonight, and they're playing with the opportunity to go play in the CFP. And I wanted to go to the game, but I knew we had this tonight.
Right.
This was what was most important to me, was doing this tonight.
That's right.
Because I cannot disrupt the momentum, right?
Yeah.
You busted out that image of consistency and that jagged little line, right?
Yeah, man.
But at some point you get and you complete that circle. So what happens if I satisfy, you know, my desire to go watch Oregon football tonight in Vegas? What is the opportunity they're going to be here again, right? Probably not, because they're going to the Big Ten next year. This is the last chance I would get a chance to see them. But this is more important.
That's
the
what
success of this podcast is more important. Like my relationship with you guys is more important, right?
Amen.
So I can't come and like cajole Harris and try to bring him back into the mix, right? And then be like, "Hey, fellas, man, I got to go to that game tonight."
No,
right? It just doesn't work that way.
It doesn't fit that way, man.
You know, and so it's like, what are you willing to sacrifice?
Yeah. Right. That's important because the world has a spiritual design, and you got to notice your synchronicity points in it. You know, and speaking to that, like we have come to a space, I think, where we're back in harmonic alignment. You know, we haven't really talked about why or how or when it actually started, but we're all moving to the beat of the same drum right now.
Let's define harmonic alignment. It's energy, frequency, vibration, right?
That's right.
Yep,
that's right. So that's where we're at right now.
We do have.
Exactly. And so for those guys that's tapping in with him, hitting my line, trying to get with Kiko about coming on, or we got years in the game. Yeah, we do. We do have tenure. You got equity with me, right? But that's in one space, one phase of my life. This is something totally different. And we standing on that. So.
Yeah, and we're here because, you know, God doesn't make his work manifest in cowards.
That's right.
Right. So we're here as a secular example of like, you know, there's a saying on Wall Street that says, you know, don't tell me about your portfolio. Mm-hmm. Show me.
Yeah.
We're showing.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't go to the Oregon game.
Yeah.
I'm showing you guys, I'm demonstrating, but I don't want to fucking pat on the back. That's like saying I'm a fucking good father. I'm going to go march on DC and like.
You're supposed to do that.
You're supposed to do that. I'm supposed to be here because this is my commitment. So for all of you people out there, you want to know what it takes to be successful?
Right.
Fucking just stick to your commitment.
Exactly.
You want better kids?
Yeah.
Be involved in their life.
Yeah. I mean, that's more often than not. That's the
so
only
true.
distinguishing quality between where you're at versus the person you emulate. Even if the emulation is your higher version of yourself, is the fact that you don't quit, right? That you don't give up, that you don't seek opportunities because of FOMO, right? There are a lot of FOMO opportunities that are going to pop up, especially around the holiday season. Uh-huh. There are a lot of opportunities for cross-pollination and getting business and securing the first quarter of your year. But if you have a commitment, right, and it's something that you're standing in on, you have to own that.
Right. Bro, it just goes back to like your metaphysical like first principles of just skin in the game.
Yeah.
You know, and God is in your endeavors and he's in your labors. You know, you go back, you and I read The Alchemist many times, right?
Favorite book in the whole world.
I read it once a year at least. And then reference it a few times, you know, just throughout the year. And it's like, you know, the universe will conspire to give you what you want. Man, but you have to go, like you said, on that journey.
Yeah, man.
Right? And risk ruin, give up the Oregon game, which is nothing in the grand scheme of things, right? But what are you willing to sacrifice? You know, you cannot have reward without the commiserate, like, risk. And so at that level, what are you willing to commit? You know, the farmer who is praying while kneeling in the field, sowing his fields, is going to have his prayers answered. He's not in his house, you know, praying for his fields or the harvest for next year. He's actually like in the field sowing.
Yeah, man.
Right. So if you're not in the field sowing, we're sowing right now.
Yes, sir.
And we're praying for success and we need a little bit of luck. But all those things come together and will eventually like produce results. It's produced results.
We just need one hit. We just need one hit.
We just need one hit, one
That's
mic.
it.
Well, what does the Bible say? It says walk by faith, not by sight, right? So everything that you're saying is true, but you have to have some action behind that faith. You just can't have a faithful resolution about how you're going to approach your day and not actually do anything to affect the kind of change that you want to see in your life.
Could you imagine like you're sitting in a rower, right?
Yeah.
And you got the oar in your hand. You're not putting it in the water. You're like, God, please help me.
Yeah.
Oh, man, you got to stroke that oar.
Yeah, I be stroking.
I know. Get your head out.
I knew you was going to. I got to stroke it to the right.
I got a note right here that says,
I be stroking.
Harris, get your mind out of the gutter. I know you like oar stroking.
Put that Clarence Carter on right now.
That's phenomenal, man.
You know that's coming on.
But that's not.
I'm just thinking of like all these things are gonna start editing this stuff with.
I'm like, I have that in my notes from last week to like tell Harris about like get your mind out of the gutter about oar stroking because I know when I did that was gonna happen. But that's years of practice, right?
That's right. Yeah.
That's practice to a T.
And some of us are from the gutter though. We like it like
funny,
that.
Man. My cheeks hurt.
You know what I mean? Because some of us like it, you know, saucy like that. We like a little bit of spice. You know?
Yeah. Well, you proved that this week, you dirty motherfucker. We were talking about sweaty asses.
Yeah,
bro. Explain that to me. How is that not attractive to you?
Look, I'm just I like my women clean. I'm sorry. When I was younger, like this is me. This is just me.
We're talking about swamp ass in the gym, all right? Especially girls. You know
all I said was I rolled up on Wheezy this week, and there's this girl in the gym that walks around like her shit don't stink, right? Yeah. And she got a nice booty, right?
Which is actually kind of funny considering that she got swamp ass.
Yeah, so she went to go sit next to her boy who she's cheated on, but she okay. Yeah, but they don't know who this is, man. So she's sitting next to her dude, and you know, I'm just like, she sits down, and then you could literally see the sweat on her ass, and I'm like, if you're gonna walk around the gym like your shit don't stink, you better not have a sweaty ass. So I told Weezy, what's wrong with that? I love some sweaty ass.
That's like a badge of honor. Is that what you? Right? Is that for you? That's what I'm thinking,
brother. That's like some 20.
I see that, and I'm like, this girl's getting her work in.
That's like some 2024 Two Life Crew shit, man.
Yeah, I don't know, man. You know, the buildup of sweat and moisture is a perfect environment for bacteria to live in.
Dude, I'm saying, I'm from the gutter, but I got the alligator flavor, you know what I'm saying?
But I also understand there's something like that's very, very attractive about that glow.
No, there is no, that is true, because I do put baby oil on the arms. I let it glisten because I know it resonates with the women. Sorry, Key, I don't do it because I'm not getting anybody. I know she's gonna watch this and be like, "That's why you do it." I knew it. You go in the midriff. We try to get the shiny arms,
man.
Hey, look good, feel good, play good.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, how do you think brother got this money, Key? Come on now.
Right. That's right. Yeah, you got to do it.
Feel good, play good. I was running out of the gym the other day. I ran into a fellow CPA dude of mine. He worked at one of the big firms back in the day in a bank, and he's like, "Dude," he's like, "Man, not only do you get after it." In the gym, like you're the hardest working dude.
Yeah.
Why do you got to dress well too?
Hey, man.
You know, and it goes back to the same things, right?
Because I catch touchdowns.
Do
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what it's about.
That's what it is, man.
You know, but it's consistency.
Yeah.
Right, and it's just like, don't be good. Don't strive just to be good. If you strive to just be good, nothing's going to materialize. You literally got to strive to be great in order just to try to get good. Right, and then hopefully maybe you're great, right? You know, like if you want to like reach the moon, you got to aim for the stars or whatever that quote is. Harris is the king of quotes, but something along those lines, right?
Yeah. I was thinking about that book from back in the day. Gator put us on, From Good to Great, and there's a lot of cold game in there, you know. But I mean, I think that's part of being like creative. Like, you know, your creativity means that you got to believe in that greatness a little bit. And so it's important, I think, to have a little bit of that, because, and then that also have a little bit of what you're talking about, right? That motivator of the swamp ass. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Because there are days, believe me, man, like I'm almost 40 years old now, right? There are days where like I don't have the same zest that I did when I was 27, 28. 29, hopping out, ready to go attack the day, right? But what I fall back on is I'm chasing greatness. I'm chasing greatness.
Yeah.
I'm chasing greatness.
Well, it's just your motivations have changed.
Yeah.
Right. And you got to calibrate. And the people that kind of get stuck in the mud or, you know, find themselves living Groundhog's Day over and over again, just haven't found that new outlet. I saw like, you know, just this week alone, you had two guys that were like, almost what they call it when you reach a centurion?
Yeah, central figures. My man Charlie Munger, shout out.
Charlie Munger, yeah.
And
like he never stopped living. Like even at 99 years old, he had, you know, he was on the Costco board. Obviously, he was Berkshire Hathaway.
Right.
Had a bunch of rental properties in California and just a bunch of entities spread across the globe that he was involved in on a daily basis, reading books till like 1 a.m. He never ever stopped living. You had Henry Kissinger, who just passed away, who did a book with Schmidt from Google about AI and the impacts on the future. These are guys that never, ever stopped living and kept redefining, recreating themselves, like to your point, right? So you get a lot of people on the sidelines that are like wishing and hoping it goes back to the farmer in the field, right?
Ain't happening.
Like, man, you got to sow the seeds. And you got to constantly sow the seeds if you want the harvest.
Yeah, man.
Amen.
Preach. Church.
So is Charlie Munger really 100 years old?
99. He was like, I think
he was a couple of weeks away from his 100th birthday, and he passed away.
Yeah, they were planning a birthday party for him because he lived in California. I forget, some country club or something like that. But yeah, he was close to it. So, but they just never stopped living, man. You know.
I think that's the importance of life. You got to have a purpose-driven life, right? You always got to strive to be more, to have more, to do more, not to pad, your ego, but because, that is what gives you the impetus to want to wake up and live. Like I always ask myself, and I respect the heck out of people who have gotten to their mountaintop and are working like they haven't achieved any success. Vince Lombardi was like, making it to the top isn't the same as making it at the top, right? And that's one of my favorite quotes, right? Because it's so much harder when you're winning championships to sustain that versus actually getting to the championship itself, because you feel like different. Sometimes people rest on their laurels. They don't have the same types of disciplines, the same types of hustle, right? Like if you catching the bus and you pulling up in the Taycan, like your mindset sometimes could be a little bit different. I've always admired the people who get up and grind like there is no tomorrow and that they haven't already achieved their success. Essentially like what we do independently in our own lives, right? Like we've come a long, long way, from where we just were a short time ago, yet we're still moving as though like we haven't accomplished anything. And that, my hat's off to you guys, to me as well. Yeah. And to everybody else out there, going in and getting it. So,
well, we just hit him with this real quick.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think there's a lot of wisdom in what it is that you're saying. Going back down to the base of the mountain, switching mountains, and then climbing back up, right? Creating new journeys, because otherwise, what's the point of life? Why are you living? What was your purpose? What were you designed for? Just to like conquer like one thing? What if you conquer that one thing at 18?
Yeah.
What if you conquer 28, 38? Like, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? It's I think it's the Google adage where they say like, every day is day one, right?
Yeah.
Every day is day one. And I think that's something that, as we're all continuing to succeed and build our resumes and our portfolios, I think we each treat every day like it's day one.
You got to do it, man.
Like no one forces Wheezy or YFK or however many names I got for this cat. No government names on this podcast, just FYI. Okay, YFK, FYI, whatever. But no one has him getting up at 3 a.m. in the morning. He does it on his own volition.
Yeah,
right?
man.
Because he knows what he has to do throughout the day. He has to be a father. He has to be an entrepreneur. He has to get his workout in, right? All these things within a certain window that no one else is like putting a gun to his head and saying, hey, you have to get this done.
Yeah.
He's just doing it because he feels like that's what he wants to do because he has higher goals and aspirations for himself.
The most exciting part of my day is like editing all our stuff and then posting it.
That's dope.
And then seeing all their interactions and like, I think that's like the best part of my day.
Yeah, so if you're watching this and you're like listening to Wheezy talk about like the best part of his day is this podcast. Like,
how about that?
If you're ever going to be on this thing, you got to have like that love and lust for this. Like, like a driving passion, a driving desire where like this gets you up and going in the morning, like every day.
Like, it's weird. Like, I'm so thankful, but at the same time, I'm like scared because
what?
I feel like I'm so thankful that like, man, I got these brothers who are like on the same wavelength. Like, but what if there's like a day we're not in the same wavelength? You know what I mean? That like scares me, right?
Well, I mean, we're all these spiritual beings going through this human experience. So, at times, that will happen. But I mean, what you said a moment ago is the point of living is to have something like that. Yeah. To wake up and go get it before it gets got.
Yeah, but the feeling of me being grateful to having y'all as my brothers, man, that's even bigger. You know what I mean? That's bigger than my fear about, whatever it is that I'm worried about. You know what I mean? That's like doesn't even exist.
Yeah. That's
right?
great. That's great.
So it's like,
that is
really
the point
like
of life.
Like I think about like, man, like for us to be able to create something and then, share with my friends, right? And we don't know where this is gonna go. But I just have a feeling that it's going to come
straight to the top.
Yep.
Hey, that's what we do, man. Is hit home runs and catch touchdowns.
Friends and just talking about it.
That's funny.
I was trying to figure out like a bio to write for our TikTok, and I was trying to figure out what we're doing. And really, we're just like, this podcast is what we would talk about if the mics weren't even around here.
Yeah.
So
I do like what you came up with, though. I saw that on the Instagram.
Oh, you did?
I don't know if you're using that for TikTok. I've never been on TikTok.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But I will be on TikTok soon.
What did I write?
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you write?
Yeah.
What did you write?
Yeah, it's let me see if I can kind of pull it up really quick. Uno momento. Mommy, slow up your tempo.
I'm sure AI will edit this dead space out, right? Okay, so we're good. No worries. All right. We got this. What are you looking? Oh, you're looking
here
up Weezy's expression.
Dudes convo about leveling up.
There it is.
Ladies, fitness, relationships, entrepreneurship, faith, history, and life on this planet.
I think that's what it
it's
is.
a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. You hit it. You know,
that's not AI. That's all me.
Yeah, I was thinking about like my riff sources. Like when I go off on a riff, I'm like, who are my inspirations for a riff? And I go like 4 years old the first time I heard like Eddie Van Halen's Eruption.
Oh, I love that.
Like you heard like there was guitar like pre-1977 and then there was Eruption that came out in 19 and then like nothing like an alien came down to earth, right?
Yeah.
And started playing a guitar like from like 300 years in the future.
That's true.
Right? That's the only guitar solo that ever got like prominent airplay. Whether you like rock music or not, when you hear that solo and you say, this is 1977, listen to a guitar prior to that, that is a riff. That's a solo.
It's true.
That's a game changer. I like to him or like, I think about
what about Eric Clapton?
That was one of his influences, was Eric Clapton.
Yeah. Because I was listening to the Reptile album the other day at the gym.
God damn.
People were like, this girl was on the Stairmaster.
Yeah.
She's like, you're really in the zone. What are you listening to? I'm like, Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
She's like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, Reptile album. Because I love music.
Slow hand, yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, I find that people who are into music, like regardless of the genre music you're into, love all sources of music.
Yeah, it's just those nuances, right? And I went to school for recording engineering after college. So like I'm listening to different frequencies. I'm listening to how they pan shit to the left or to the right.
Yeah.
Like those hidden things that people don't hear until the 100th time. You know, I usually get the first or second time around. So
I was lost on that. Like I always thought I was like everybody like lived like in a silo because when I grew up, it was like either you listen to this music or that music and you never really cross boundaries.
Yeah.
And then I remember, I'm glad at the time that I grew up in the neighborhood I grew up because I got exposed to different music, right? I came from a rock and roll household. But I remember like, I think it was like mid 90s and Puffy was talking about, they're like, what are your favorite bands, right? And he was like, My Chemical Romance. And that just threw me for a loop because I was like, what? Hip hop?
Yeah,
one of his favorite bands, My Chemical Romance? And I'm like, I never even dawned on me, right? And then I started thinking like, well, of course he would. He's a musician.
That's right.
He's trying to like draw inspiration like from all sources, right?
You got to do it, man.
Yeah, like a mad composer.
And I think that's what makes like the greats great is that their essence is a culmination of all of these different worldviews, all of these different sounds. Sonically, they go through different eras, and then like you get something like Can't Trust It from Public Enemy.
Man. That just hits different.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it just hits
like
different.
In 2023, it still hits different.
It just their whole catalog is just different, dude. Can't Trust It. Love that.
That's my joint right there, man.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
So what else were some of your influences there? You said so we got.
I was just like riffing. Like I think of like we always reference like Ralph Waldo Emerson's like Self-Reliance. Like that's just a riff, man, on just being your own person.
You guys go read that essay.
Authentic, being original. Not being afraid to be yourself, having no fear. That's just basically like a really rough cliff notes of reading that, and he just outlines and lists like all the great figures like. From Socrates to Jesus to, Plato to whomever that weren't afraid to be themselves, despite what everybody thought.
That's right.
Despite being misunderstood. So that, I always reference, Nassim Taleb, just his counter, the way he thinks, which is different than what the markets want you to think, which is different than what most financial institutions want you to think. How he's made his money doing the exact opposite of how people make their money and like, hedging and playing black swans, right? Like taking these micro investments and betting that like this little thing, right, is going to blow up and to do it, time after time after time.
Right.
Which is basically just going against the grain. So if you think about that, I'm like, that resonates with me because that's what we do. We just kind of go against the grain, whether it's I just catch touchdowns, right?
Yeah.
To you being like an autodidact, right?
Yeah, man.
To Wheezy just, constantly transforming himself on a daily basis, like just not caring what people think, which is one of the, one of the main things I respect about him. Not that he doesn't care. He just doesn't care what you think about him
enough to affect how he's going to
right.
move.
He's going to continue to be him, like irregardless.
And that's a counterculturalist. It's only the rebels, the outlaws, the misfits of society who can see society differently, right?
Iconoclast,
and,
right?
And catch the gorgeous glimpses of what the higher possibilities look like.
Yeah.
So shout out to Kiko, baby.
What's up? Appreciate that. Appreciate that.
Yes,
acknowledgement.
sir. Yes,
Thank you.
sir.
That's, sometimes, it's you don't notice that about yourself until like someone else, you get that feedback. So I appreciate that.
It is true.
It is, but that's why we jive.
Right.
It's because of that. Like, I don't like followers.
Yeah.
I don't like people hanging off my jock. I just,
and
the surefire way for me to like not want to be around somebody is for someone just to jock me. Right. Someone to like brown nose me. I just, because I know they're not going to help me grow and develop as a person.
You can't have the yes people when you're in your corner like that, right?
No,
they don't have you.
Because I've been around that. I was talking to Weezy just about experiences and like some of the things you go through, some of the things you don't go through. And then every time I talk about something, it's because I've been on the opposite side of that. Like I always say, like every major pimp at some point in time got burned by some chick, and that's why they turned into a pimp.
Savage.
Right?
Yeah. Like
they just got their ass burned. Maybe they weren't hiding underneath the bed, hiding from somebody burned, but
one day, you guys shall get this story. One day.
That's like Jesus, man. Like, I went through it, so you don't have to. You don't want to get nailed.
Did that. Yeah, so hopefully you don't have to go through that.
Yeah, you don't want to get nailed to the cross. You don't need to know what that feels like. All right, so just go ahead and just like leave that alone.
But one of these days, we'll have to bring that story out.
So we just talk about, the mistakes that are made and the experiences that you go through and kind of like how that transforms like your future decision making, to make you just a tiny bit better, right? Just every day. Because, it's like our diameter of knowledge.
Yeah.
Like a human flaw is we think it's always bigger than what it is.
Mm-hmm.
It's so much smaller than what. If people would start from a premise, like it's the Socratic method.
Yeah.
You just start from the method. You start from the premise of, I don't know. And you'll find that you'll live a much more fulfilling, like robust life. Because now you're not walking around pretending like you know everything when you absolutely know nothing. And the more you know, you find out the less you know, right? Because it's humanly impossible to know everything. And just every time you learn something, it opens up like a new universe, right, of information that you're going to be exposed to. That's virtually impossible for you to master that. So it's
people got to get off the train of worrying about what other people think, right? Like I think it was Eleanor Roosevelt. She said you wouldn't care about how much people thought about you if you actually knew how little they actually thought about you.
That's so true. That's a great. Can you read that again? Say that again. I love that.
That's just my interpretation of her quote. But you wouldn't care so much about what people thought about you if you realize how little people actually think about you.
Right. Why do you think that is, though? Why are we so paranoid about what people think about us?
Fear of flying, fear of failure, but there's so much life and lesson in a loss. You know what I mean? Like you just have to be able to will it into existence and pivot from that and say, I'm not going to make a left anymore because I know where that heads, right? I'm going to go straight. I'm going to take a right the next time I have this opportunity because that's going to lead me to greener pastures, right? And I think more often than not, it's just like evolution. Like we have tribal mentality with these old ancient brains. And it's easier, right? You got to keep in mind, man, when dinosaurs was around chasing motherfuckers, it was easier to be in a band. Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. With your closest to kin than it was to be out on your own. So people nowadays still with this ancient brain have this programming genetically like coming into this world of I need to stay affixed to this guy. So it's harder for people to think independently about what it is that they want to do. And I think it stems from that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair assessment. I think we've only been in this current, like, I guess evolutionary process where we're like, what they say, like maybe 10,000 years ago is where they feel like the brain really started to change. And so if you say, you juxtapose that to the however many millions of years before that, right? We started walking on this earth. We're barely scratching the surface, right, of what modern man is and overcoming like
we're a blink, basically.
Yeah, right. Compared to how long we've actually been here on the earth. So, I mean, we're working our way through it, but it's going to take a long time, to over like the neocortex new, right? To overcome like the old lizard limbic brain.
Yeah.
Limp dick brain.
That lizard brain, man, never fails. We all have it.
Problem. That's most people's problem, man. Is that they're stuck on
stupid, as one of my friends says.
Yeah. I was thinking it.
How do you evolve from that? Like, what are your experiences you feel like evolved you from your lizard brain?
So go back to one of my sources. Like the main.
No, you can't say your lizard brain is completely gone because I see it every day.
Oh, you see it? You see it at the gym, brother.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and we talked about the thing between your legs. Well, that'll get you in trouble every time, right?
Can't be thinking about that.
Yeah, it's just about putting yourself in better positions is all it is.
Right.
But for me, like the game changer for me and the biggest influence on my life that kind of like set the wheels in motion for me to go off in the direction that I'm going off in was just
how did you see the light? Tell us.
Just straight up. I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. Bottom line. And I was not into reading books. Just this weird thing. I had just got signed on for the TSA project. This is post 9/11, and they're federalizing the airports, and I didn't know what I was going to do in my life. I was going through a divorce at the time. I was a freaking emotional wreck, and I was in this airport in Denver. That paperback copy. I was flying from Denver to Dallas.
That's classic, right there. The paperback joint.
Yeah, paperback copy of the autobiography of Malcolm X, and to that. Prior to that, I was just one of these knuckleheads. I was like, oh, he's just a reverse racist. He just hates white people because that was the images. That was my only knowledge of him.
That was the rhetoric. But hey, I would say to you guys, go back to 1964 and watch the Bullet. Ooh. That's what you guys got to watch, and then come back and see if he's still a reverse racist.
Yeah. And then read his notes about Mecca and stuff like that. And so, I read that book, and it completely transformed my life. So I went from like never wanting anything to do with Malcolm X to like reading a life about this guy that kind of was constantly in this state of change from his childhood
to the Big Red days,
Detroit Red.
Oh, Detroit Red
Red to his Nation of Islam days,
yep.
to him finally breaking off on his own. And, as fate would have it, I got a degree in history from UNLV. I bring that up because my final dissertation, right, was on Black history. I didn't pick the topic. That's just what was the topic they gave us. That was like the final paper you had to write. So it's like, you can write on any figure in American history. Great. And I was like, man, that's right up my alley because I had done so much research on him, so much reading. It was the biggest influence on my life. I could say like the journey that I'm on today started there probably like from 2002, September 2002.
I love it. What about you, Kiko? Same question for you.
Oh, what was the question? I was just
you
asked posed the question.
You asked the question. Talked about.
No, honestly, like I know what I was observing while you were saying that. Like I could see how much of that, that the paper that you wrote, your dissertation about Malcolm X, how that has like influenced you, how that's rooted you. Like I've never really like put all the pieces together. You know what I mean? Like I've always thought that you're aware with like the culture, right? Because your daughter is half Black, right?
Yeah.
And so I thought that was it. But, like knowing that now, and I've heard you talk about Malcolm X before and like you immersed in that history, like I've always wondered like how that all fit in. And so that was like the missing piece where it's like, oh, okay. So that's what I was just like.
Weezy fucking in bed at night, just like that motherfucker. Talk about Malcolm X. What's that anything? And Sam's looking at him like, we gonna fuck or not? And Weezy's like, I just gotta figure out that there's a mystery between Dupre and Malcolm X.
You think you know somebody, and then you're like, you're not. Then you broke it down like that. I was like, okay, I can see that just observing.
That I went from like, I wasn't even a good student in college, and then I went from like reading this book to like, I wrote like a 50-page dissertation.
Well, that brings up another question that I've had for a number of years. I feel like some of the educational institutions have these antiquated curriculums, and a part of it is that. I don't think that you were a bad student. It's just that you didn't have things.
No, I was lazy. No, just straight up, dude. I was a bad student. I never did homework. I never wrote papers. I was a kid that just showed up and was happy to get a 2.5.
But the point is, it's because of the curriculums. Like if there was a curriculum that spoke to what we're doing right now today in our lives, be a 4.0 student.
For sure. I think anybody can be a 4.0 student. So I think part of it is the curriculum.
Yeah.
Part of it is the household you grew up in.
No doubt.
I don't think
nurture.
Education was emphasized in our house. Not that my mom didn't want us to go to school and get straight A's. Single parent, 6 kids.
Yeah.
None of us were
also from a different era.
None of us were great students. There was nobody in my family that was like a role model. Nobody in my family or immediate family, nobody went to college. Nobody started their own business. So there was just no example like whatsoever. And some people need that, you know? And so like, no, I went to school for fun and that was it. And I didn't take time to learn, but you know what? I've turned that into a positive because now I can't learn enough.
Yeah.
So now I feel like, what if I would have been a 4.0? What if I would have done everything the right way? Would I still be as curious and as eager to learn? Get up at 4 a.m. to get my hour of reading in and read before I go to bed every night because I'm trying to make up for lost time.
That's a good segue for me. So that would be my answer to your question is I have a healthy curiosity for life. You know, I'm one of those guys who doesn't think there is a coincidence in making eye contact with a stranger at the exact same time that stranger is making eye contact with you. Most people are going to look away from that.
Yeah, I would look away.
That's me. Yeah,
like, most people are going to look away.
I look down like, yo, you look
not
at
me,
see
not
me
me.
walking by and the tears are in my eye. Look away, baby, look away. Don't look at me.
That's most people.
I don't want you to see
That's
me
most people.
this way.
That is most people. Not
hey,
me.
let's give him a hand of applause. That was great.
You gotta give
I got a confession to make real quick. I'm sorry. I didn't
Nah,
even,
go ahead.
You know, I like to bust in the songs.
Yeah.
I got a confession to make, man. Like, I am limited fake in my voices.
Uh-huh.
But it's like a collage of like just like 5 or 6 different people.
I love that.
And it's all the same. It's all the same. Like so it's like lead singer from Creed, like Scott Stapp is like, you know, arms wide open. Yeah. Right. So you hear that Johnny Gill like rub you the right. Yeah, that's what you know.
That's my sacrifice right there.
Yeah.
One last breath.
Man, I love Creed. It's Pearl Jam. It's like, you know, Jeremy spoken. Classic.
You know? You might be able to get my man from Nickelback in there, like with that. Man.
You remember Joe Cocker?
Yes.
Yeah, Joe Cocker.
What would you do if I sing out of tune?
No, you gotta get it. You gotta be like, Lord, lift us up where we belong.
It's
you know what I'm talking about, right?
Y'all.
Yes. Watch Joe Cocker.
Oh my God.
We may get canceled for this shit, but that's what.
Where are we going? What are we doing right now?
Hey, that's a classic, man.
And then the last.
That is a classic.
It's like all the voices kind of like fit. The last one is like, do you remember the Bill Cosby? I know this might be too soon. Pudding pop commercials.
Yes, I do.
So he kind of like got that Joe Cocker chest. Like he would be
it's
like,
not too soon. That was like decades ago.
No, I'm talking about, you know, with his like sexual stuff and going to prison. But you know, he was like, Jello pudding bops, right? So those are like the collages of my voices when I sing. I just felt like I needed to get that out. But
dude, I am sweating now. I'm like, that was so funny.
I was fucking.
I'm sweating because that was so funny, man. That was really good. That Joe Cocker has a special place in my heart, man. I loved the Wonder Years growing up, and like that was the theme song to the Wonder Years.
How's that song go?
Oh, he was I'm only just lift us up where we belong because I just remember him and Jennifer Warner. I think it's from Dirty Dancing.
Do I need to look it up?
He was singing, "What would you do if I?" Because he always sing on the mic like that too, like what?
Would you stand up and walk out on me?
Yeah. R.I.P. Joe Cocker.
Oh man, that is great.
I just wrecked the show.
No, you didn't. I mean, this is what Off the Mark is all about, right? We don't have a sense of direction. We just get on here and we riff a little bit, you know. But it's perfect.
Eddie Van Halen, Eruption, son.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So Kiko, did you want to touch on that before we moved along?
Influences.
Yeah.
What would you do
let that go for a little
if
bit.
I sang out of tune?
I ain't doing it.
Hit that.
Stand up and walk out
On me.
Lend me your ear.
Oh man.
Sing you a song.
That's a great song, though. I mean, he's a great voice, though.
Try not to sing out on key.
All right.
Man.
Help from my friend.
Get by with a little help from my friends. With my friends.
We broing it out right now. Amen.
Yes.
I mean, our range of music on this podcast, we went from like Snoop Dogg referencing, you know, if you everybody got their cup, they ain't chipped in.
Right. Yeah.
We went Bombs Over Baghdad. We went Joe Cocker. We went Eddie Van Halen, Eric Clapton, Reptile.
It's
Chicago, which is what kicked off the Voices. Like, come on, man.
And that is why, we are off the mark. So remember, guys, think about it and go get it
before it gets got. Before it gets got.
Peace. That was great.
That was awesome.
Man, that was really good.
I'm sweating from that.
Yeah, that was good. Get by with a little help from my friends. I wanted to make sure we respected the praise.
Yeah, gotcha.
Oh, I was just like,
So
I appreciate that.
Because we could have kept going. I think we were just getting into that good flow where a lot of great nuggets.
We were building up a lather.
Oh man, it was coming. I'm like, no, we gotta stay honest because being succinct is gonna make us so much better.
That is true. Like, knowing what the cadence and the